Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Challenger series. We are heading into Game 2 now between myRevenge and AT Gaming. They have sort of started a little bit sooner than I had anticipated, so I do believe my co-caster Pulse is currently not at his computer. But for the time being, I will be casting from the stream because the lobby was obviously full with our streamers today. So obviously I will be a little bit behind where you would normally expect us to. And we are just gonna, I'm just gonna mention it again, we are sorry that our German stream is not going to be running today. Obviously, there was a personal issue that arose at the very last second, and now he has to go to hospital with his son. So, we have actually seen pretty much the same bands, I think, now. Obviously, the change here is Renekton. I cannot remember what they've swapped out for that Renekton band, but obviously Syndra, Fiddlesticks, and Twitch coming out again from AT, which is interesting, and I'm still not sure what it is specifically they're looking to block out there. Maybe they are just, particular targeted bands. They're Fanatics, maybe playing that Syndra in the mid lane, for instance. And I do believe my co-caster has returned.
Whoops, also needs to unmic my microphone. Yep, fantastic. Hello.
Hello. So yes, as I say, underway already. They sort of started without sort of asking. But anyway, we have now got some picks coming out. We have got that Thresh first pick from AT, and we have got Elise, and we have got Volibear.
Yes, indeed. And I just went AFK for a second because I want to get some ice because it is quite hot right now in jolly old England. So I don't know what it's like in Guernsey, but it's quite hot.
But Sejuani is banned.
That's relevant. But we do have Volibear though, so it's fairly cold on their team, quite nippy. Maybe it would be fantastic actually to see maybe an entire team made up of one of the factions at some point. But that's probably not going to happen in the tournament. But I know some teams do like to theme team people. We have seen it in the past, specifically from British Tea Time, as that has happened a couple times. But we will see Kog'Maw actually coming out, which is very interesting because Kog'Maw generally isn't seen in the AD carry role, but is sometimes seen in the AP carry role in that mid lane. With those ultimates being so strong with the living artillery, and also the Voidoos having great scaling and just doing a ton of damage in that lane, great way to clear, but at the same time just don't really see it very much. So very interesting composition already coming out from myRevenge.
Yeah, obviously AP Kog'Maw was very popular for a while when CLG.eu were running it towards the end of Season 2, and it did get nerfed so that now that the mana costs are just absolutely enormous on AP Kog'Maw. So you basically need at least 2 major mana items and blue buff if you want to be sustaining that harass out. But it is still an incredibly strong, almost unanswerable level of poke once it gets running, and obviously that makes AP Kog'Maw a very real threat. But wouldn't be surprised to see it being the bot lane AD carry, which is a little bit less dependent on that buff control, and obviously does scale incredibly well. Works both of them, however, both Kog'Maws have one thing in common, which is that they really need a team composition which can protect them, and you are actually now seeing that coming out. Elise obviously having that stun, Bear being very beefy, getting in the way, and obviously Shen, ultimate and the taunt being an extremely good champion to keep people alive with.
Yeah, so looking at Broto's Nautilus, once again, we've seen that play to great effect already in, I think it was last week's Challenger series, which will be very interesting to see as we jump into this game. And also, they will be picking up the Fresh Forest lane, which we actually saw on myRevenge last game, and didn't actually help them too much. So we actually see sort of the roles reversed, where we have that strong bottom lane within the hands of AT, and in fact, it looks like we might have that Kog'Maw in that AD carry role if that Diana gets locked in. But anyway, so we also have the more of a lane bully, and we also have the AD assassin with Kha'Zix in that mid lane as well. So already AT's composition looking to be very strong.
Yeah, they obviously have some great CC there. They have great, pretty much everything again. I mean, they have good mobility. Obviously, Nautilus is surprisingly quick to get around, tends to pick up those mobility boots. So you can down to the ground. You have Thresh, who obviously has that lantern. You have Varus, who is obviously a little bit slow, but you've got Kha'Zix and you've got Rumble, who are both very quick at getting around the map. Kha'Zix obviously having that jump, and Rumble having a spammable movement speed steroid. So obviously he can get around quickly. And obviously at the same time they have a really good team fight, and as well good skirmishing. They have good AoE, good CC, pretty much a solid comp all around. What they're up against, though, is a very, very definite protect the Cogmore comp. You've got that Elise, you've got that looking like Elise support as well. So you've got that Elise, you've got that Shen, you've got that Diana. Diana will be doing less protection, but much more diving in, just trying to disrupt that backline, trying to disrupt, Varus from trying to put down any damage at all, and obviously having that Zonyas as well. So super, super strong character in that scenario, and I think we are going to be that's the end of the delay timer. That's the start of the delay timer. So unless you have any other thoughts, Pulse,
nope.
Then I think we will be moving into a quick commercial break.
My life will never be the same. Feeling the love, I'm on my way. Tonight we'll meet again. Let's stay until the end. Tonight we'll meet again. Don't fear, just take my hand.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to week 3 of the EU West Challenger Series powered by Kaostv. We are currently in the first best of 3 today in the quarterfinals between myRevenge and AT Gaming, and presently we will be jumping into the second game with AT taking the first game very confidently, but casting this first series of games will be myself, Pulse, and the rather fabulous Spuddington.
Hello.
Hello.
That's all I had to say, really, at this point.
Fantastic
Hello.
contribution.
I know,
Would you like to
it's
take us
exciting.
through? Would you like to take us through the first couple minutes of this game?
Well, I could, say something like that, but I did, take that intro as well. We actually have got Bro, sorry, going straight in to this brush here. Tier 1 player does get rooted, sort of, in the middle of his dash. So obviously it didn't really do anything at all to him. But it does look like with that, they're just going to back on out. AT obviously going for that early invade, but that has given Elise Fail Factory that opportunity to ward. And it does look that might be a 2v1 lane swap up. We have got Fail Factory heading towards that top lane, and obviously Nigel is toxic. Could be. Wait, where is he going? Is he hanging around mid for any particular reason here? He may. Well, okay. Looks like he's just hanging around mid in case there's a follow-up invade there by Bro. Going to be heading towards that top lane now. We'll pick up golems and obviously then make that 2v1 lane for rarely quite difficult, I think.
Yeah, definitely. However, Kog'Maw is kind of weaker in the laning phase, and he does scale incredibly well. Probably one of the best scaling AD carries, but his main issue right now is just the fact that, well, his main damage steroid, also the fact that his extra range is also linked to an ability that isn't always available to him, and in fact he does have 500 range naturally. He has a lot of issues as an AD carry, so actually seeing him in that 2v1 lane will give him an easier start, but at the same time wouldn't allow him to maybe push down that turret as fast as he wants to, and also his bottom lane will have a much harder time coping against that fresh Varus lane. But having said that, we do have that fresh Varus lane in that mid lane against Diana.
So that's an interesting swap up. Looks like AT are looking to take a very early pushing advantage, and that does suit them quite well. Obviously, having that protect the Kog'Maw composition is very reliant on Kog'Maw's late game. If you can't get that late game going, then obviously Kog'Maw he just is a bit of a substandard pick because he does a lot of damage, but it won't really start to get completely out of control until later on. But it's an interesting thing that actually we've got Fnatic going very low in the mid. We have got Zaitun going under the tower. Exhaust has gone down. And he is tanking that tower for one extra shot. First blood going to Varus on Visibility, and that is going to be huge in that mid lane.
Yeah, perfectly executed by Fresh and Varus, and they will now be putting a lot of damage onto this mid lane turret. Another minion wave will be approaching the turret very, very soon, and we could maybe see a very early tower taken. However, fairly unlikely. Diana will be now moving into that mid lane with Volibear kind of sniffing around the area as well, and we do maybe have him moving to look for this tower dive on Defiant on that Kha'Zix in that top lane, and this could be a very scary time, but a ward has gone down, so we will be backing off and trying to basically waste a bit more of Volibear's time. With that being said, we could again maybe see a turret being taken to top lane.
Yeah, they're going to put a lot of pressure on that top lane turret now. Kha'Zix obviously is going to just not be able to go anywhere near because there's just that constant threat that obviously Flash, Bear gets jumping on you. And Dupliance is just going to abandon ship basically. That top tower is going to go down at 3 minutes 40. Which is hugely early, but mid lane actually now Fnatic's getting caught out there. Bro going under the tower, and it looks like that tower is also going to get taken down pretty quickly. Bro and Visibility are very low. Zaishin obviously too, and that creep wave might run out before they can take the tower. No, it's not going to happen, but we have now got Bear, we have now got Kog'Maw, and we have now got Elise roaming towards that mid.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because generally when you swap up those lanes, you expect or kind of want that tower to fall as fast as possible, but that generally never sort of pans out because it just doesn't happen because of maybe the jungler's intervention. But in this case, we had 3 people roaming into that mid, taking out that laner, and in case of Dupliance, he actually managed to get out of there, and they have actually exited that laning phase slightly better or in a better condition with those two kills at the start, but still, 2 towers going down already, and a mid tower traded already for AT Gaming. So they're in a very good position if they want to move on to those buffs or even look for those invade, and also Drake as well gives them a lot of leeway when they go for these objectives.
The thing about Drake right now though is that it's honestly a raid boss. It like doing Drake at this stage of the game is like doing Baron at 20 minutes. It's very, very difficult to do because it puts out a lot of damage. It can be done, but if you're interrupted while you're doing it, you're risking quite a lot of damage coming down on you. We have got Kog'Maw and Elise quite a risky spot here in this mid lane. Obviously, they have got wards out. We have got that death sentence going. Not going to be able to get it. Bro circling around. I think he suspects where that ward is. And he has been spotted out, but now he just Cogmore did not notice. I think we have got the stun going down, but he's just lining himself up with the death sentence. Caglaro coming in the side. The exhaust has gone down in vicinity. He is now taking damage from both of them. And in fact, we have got Cogmore putting in damage off to the side. Barrier goes down. He has actually got pulled out and then flashed. And it looks like Cogmore is going to look for that kill. He's going to pick it up. And now Zaichin is just keeping on down the damage on Caglaro, who is using his passive to just about stay alive. But it looks like he's going to take that out. Double kill for Bro. And now Dupliance is coming in from the side. Extra kill there on that Cogmore. And ow, that is painful.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, it's just looking like AT in a very, very dominant position. They've gotten that tower down in that mid lane. They have 5 kills to 1. They're about 2k ahead already in a very, very dominant position. And you can only feel that maybe it was a bad idea to have that top turret go down so early for that Cogmore. Because as you mentioned before, Spuddington, Cogmore wants to be in that late game scenario, and you have to build a composition around him. Yes, they have a very good protect the Cogmore composition, but at the same time, he's never really, at this rate, going to reach that stage where he is that murder machine. And maybe it was a slight maybe they didn't really want to take that top turret, because right now he's finding it fairly difficult to farm. He is farming decently well, but they're being pushed in, and they need to basically keep themselves alive until Cogmore reaches that stage. And with the type of tactic they've gone for, with taking those turrets and in fact exchanging that mid turret as well, maybe this pick won't pan out for them.
Yeah, and actually now we have Bro getting aggressed on, but actually turning it around. Fail Factory does manage to jump out to the side and actually pulls a fast one there. Caglaro, though, going very, very low, does get taken out by that auto attack and rarely did show up for the finishing blow. And now we have Fail Factory running, and Knife Elf is toxic, just duking that anchor. Would have died if he'd been caught, probably, but did not get caught, and obviously, therefore, did not die. And it looks like AT are not going to bother going for this dragon. I don't believe they do have the pink ward, though. Oh,
yeah,
Fail Factory.
Fail Factory, yeah, turning that corner and just finds himself a Bro. That is my phone, and we will have Fail Factory being chased after with the wolves going out as well. And Toxic just, just sniffing around, but we have a very aggressive play by AT. As Caglaro moves around the corner as well, we could see a trade going off as AT wants to pick up this blue buff as fast as possible, but the Stand United coming in onto Caglaro as he leads the charge, maybe looking to pick up Zykion. Nice flash out of the way. Robo also on the side with Vitality looking to put down some more punishment, but we do have Zykion just going through that turret. Might even be good to go, with Diana also heading down into this potential trade. Volibear wants to follow up, but he's in fairly critical condition. He's moving up with that health pot onto about 50% HP, and in fact everyone will be backing off with no casualties at all.
The interesting thing here is that because of that lane swapping fiasco, basically, everyone has ended up at a very low level. I mean, people are only now at 8 minutes starting to get their ultimates available. And you saw that Stand United coming out, and I was kind of surprised, like I didn't think about it. But the people at obviously with the biggest level advantage right now are, well, obviously Rumble, who is just massively ahead of the game right now, and Shen. Both of those characters having put in quite a bit of time just laning against each other, and Diana has been playing a little bit of catch-up since she was, I think, level 2 after her second tower dive, which obviously was not a situation she wanted to be in. But yeah, everyone very low level, so on ultimates only now sort of starting to come online, and we have got Shen being pressured around in that top lane, but Bear waiting in the wings, but probably not on the health where he really wants to tangle with an ultimate at level, a Rumble at level 8, with that obvious ability to just straight up nuke him down. So it looks like we're seeing a bit of a lull in the action now, Pulse.
Yeah, for sure, but you can only feel that AT, if they choose to go for those team fights, are going to be stronger. We did see a nice counterplay from myRevenge, pushing them out of their jungle, but at the same time, we really can't see any of these players shape up against any one champion from the opposing team, because already tier 1 player just getting chunked down by Rumble. We do have Diana, however, moving top, maybe looking for this gank onto Rarely, and they might be able to get this down, because he does, however, have the flash, he does have the equalizer, but maybe his 2v1ing ability isn't so strong right now. fnatic X looking to get aggressive, and we'll be chasing after with a Pale Cascade and the Moonfall going down as well. Tier 1 player locking him up with that Shadow Dash, and he should surely be picking this up in the nice clean trade. But meanwhile, bottom, we did have another kill picked up by myRevenge, and that will be a 2-for-1 trade over the board, and he might be able to move on to Drake. At the same time, we do have Dupliance popping over the wall with that leap, and maybe looking for this dive. The anchor will just whiff, but we could see a dive if Fail Factory and Toxic do stay around. At the same time, they might even just try to keep them away from this Drake.
Yeah, Volibear is coming around to join them here, and I did watch that fight where Varus was killed, and it was because he was a little bit over-eager. He knew Bro was coming in from the side, but wasn't able to get it, and now it does look like Kog'Maw is playing the defensive game here. Missiles come out. They are obviously not going to be quite enough to take anyone down, but just looking to poke people away, and it looks like Bro is actually going to get that hook now. He has landed on Tail Factory, but he might get this turned around on him. Kha'Zix's looking for that kill, but the repel avoids it. Bro now taking tons of damage and is going to go down. Kaglaro coming in from the side. It looks like we've got Kog'Maw just being left pretty much for free, but Kaglaro does go down, does get a little bit of damage. Visibility has come in as well. Diana is also in and is looking for this kill. Just needs a tiny bit of damage, does manage to get it, and that is a very good trade in the favor of myRevenge.
Yeah, and this game just turning on a dime with myRevenge looking in a very nice position right now, and Kog'Maw picking up a ton of those kills as well, with him currently being 4-1. And he will probably be looking towards that Blaze of the Ruined King, which makes a lot of sense with his percent damage. He will now be moving also onto this Drake, as Zycleon looks maybe for the steal with the death sentence, but not quite going to happen, and does actually land the death sentence instead onto fnatic. But still, as you said, myRevenge looking in a very good position, picking up the Drake, and now in fact picking up the lead in this game.
Yeah, Kog'Maw obviously now sitting on 2,600 gold. I kind of start to wonder whether he might actually... He's definitely got enough for a full Blade of the Ruined King, which would be a super nice item for him right now. Kind of wonder though whether he might get kind of maybe greedy, but start to move towards an Infinity Edge, because that's kind of the major damage item, and it is always nice to pick up. No, he's going to go for that Blade of the Ruined King, which is obviously probably the most sensible choice, and we have got Bro coming around top lane. Kha'Zix is also waiting in the rings. The anchor misses.
Yeah, and they are trying to just get something done over the board. AT are still in a very strong position, but at the same time, myRevenge have demonstrated their strength in a trade. In fact, Zycleon landed a perfect box in that trade at the bottom lane, and yet Kog'Maw just still tore through them. Now picking up the Blade of the Ruined King, he's looking in a very scary position as tier 1 player gets Dredge Line to the face, but he will be backing off. He's very tanky at this stage, but the top lane turret might be falling. We do, however, have Diana and Bear looking to maybe counter-engage onto this. Bot tower did just fall to that bot lane, and Kog'Maw in a very good position, so maybe the composition, after all, may pay off.
Yeah, so it's actually looking very much at the moment like the better late game team. Well, to be fair, both teams here are actually extremely strong late game. They all have very good scaling characters, but the sore thumb is always going to be Kog'Maw, because he is just such a ridiculous beast when he hits late game. I mean, his damage output is just... it's probably the highest of any character that's ranged. And probably higher even than, you know, a full AD carry 6-item... we have actually, sorry, got Stand United coming down on him, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to catch up. He has got the flash in, going to be getting that in. Got the flash Shen E coming in as well. Visibility going quite low, and it looks like they can't quite get this. The box does look to peel them off, but we have got the taunt coming up in another 6 seconds. Does force the flash on both Visibility and Zycleon though. Oh, and that top, sorry, we've got really getting blown quite low, but not quite enough, and it does look like we have Bear instead. We're going to be ceasing to be today. Zycleon getting a hook there on tier 1 player at bottom, and it is looking like they're going to go for this dive any second now. Kog'Maw is shoving in the lane as hard as he can. Visibility is waiting in the wings, looking to maybe do something, but I don't think he has the means to do so, and it looks like it's just going to be almost like a dive slash base race as top lane gets pushed in. Zycleon goes down. Now tier 1 player going to be pushing in this tower. Not actually, he's going to be going back, probably looking to head off that push at that top lane. Kog'Maw and Elise looking to shove down bot, and it looks like that inner tower at top is going to go down, and the bottom outer tower will also go down.
Yeah, so 1-for-1 turret trade, but that's an inner turret picked up by AT any moment now, as he just pick it up. Robo just chiming in with that last auto attack. So both teams just kind of trading blow for blow right now. However, we do see AT once again in the lead by about 1,000 gold. But as you said, Kog'Maw is still that deciding factor when it gets into those team fights, and it's only really going to get worse. Right now, it's only 15 minutes into the game, not even that, and it already feels like we've hit mid-game. Because of all the lanes roaming so quickly, and that top and mid turret falling so early, we've already transitioned into this roaming phase, which is kind of crazy because it does feel later on into this game. But Kog'Maw will scale up very, very quickly with those 5 kills, and he is farming fairly decently as well. He's been able to kind of roam around the map, and in fact he is farming the best out of any player in the game. So in relative terms, he's in a very, very nice position.
Yeah, the only problem, and this is always the problem, the hamstring on Protect the Cogwall composition, is that you are so dependent upon him surviving. I know that seems like a very obvious thing, but normally teams will run more threats. I mean, it is true this composition is also running Diana, who is going to be a fairly significant damage threat as well as Cog, but if Cogmore gets deleted, if he gets caught out by that Rumble ultimate, for instance, if he gets caught out by Kha'Zix, if he's dead, they're screwed. They've got nothing, almost nothing in a team fight compared to what they could have, and that is such a dangerous thing because it's so easy to get picked off. And Cogmore is just shoving in that bot lane now. He is going to get even more farm from this. Obviously, that's a nice big way for him to eat, and that is going to suit him down to the ground. Visibility is also hanging around, but so is Fatal Factory.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like AT don't have an answer for him, because they have Dupliance on Kha'Zix, as you mentioned, and they have a lot of ability to pin him down and take him out in a team fight. That being said, you have to protect the Cogmore composition, but on the flip side, if he gets picked out in a scenario where, like right now in fact, where the box goes down and Vitality also moving on to him as well, huge damage coming out, and Cogmore's really not able to trade with them, with the exhaust coming out as well, and Elise forced to back off, and now a very aggressive push coming from bot lane and top lane from AT.
Yeah, and that's going to be really hard for myRevenge to reshuffle in order to prevent this, because they don't really have. If they use Shen and they use Bear, they're probably going to be able to keep them off, and obviously Diana will be there as well to stop that, going for any kind of dive. But that bottom push is going to be a huge problem, and they need Elise to kind of hold that off 1v2 somehow, but she just physically can't. So their option is to make an engage happen, and it does look like they're going to go for that. Bro is going to go low. The equalizer comes down. We've got the anchor coming in, and the depth charge as well. So it looks like this has just backfired tremendously. Fnatic getting very, very low. Kha'Zix is wanting that jump in, but it looks like that is going to be a disaster for myRevenge.
Yeah, and it's just the fact that Brobo was so tanky. They just collapsed on him and they just didn't do enough damage at the same time. And then we do have Cogmore getting aggressive as that top turret is brought to about 50% HP, and he will be forcing them off. At the same time, though, we have an aggressive push coming in from Zykion and Vitality at that bot lane, just kind of pushing it into the turret. Can't really afford to stick around when you have Diana also coming in as well.
Yeah, obviously they're going to be happy with that exchange, and I saw that Dupliance, he just face planted a wall. But yeah, it's very, very, now this goal difference is now quite significant, and the danger is quite a lot of it is focused onto Brobro. So Brobro is just going to be quite happy to dive, quite literally, right into the middle of the opposing team and just fish out Cogmore. He is just going to be complete raid boss material. So tanky to just walk into the middle of everyone, and that's going to make it very difficult to be Cogmore. And actually, it does look like he might have got himself a little bit of an awkward spot. They have got the Lunar Rush and the full Moonfall coming down. Bro going low, but he has got that flash, and obviously he's going to get out as a result. So this game has involved quite a lot of roaming, Pulse. I mean, I think it would be fair to say there never really was a laning phase.
No, because there was a laning phase for about 4 minutes until the towers went down, and then it was roaming. And it's been roaming basically for the last 14-15 minutes. And again, I'm going to say it because it does feel like a lot later into the game, as already we have AT pushing up into those inhibitor turrets. There's been so much action all over the board, 12 and 7 right now, just an indicator of how much action there's been. And yet, it's not actually that far into the game. It's not even 20 minutes. Neither team can even surrender if they wanted to, but I don't think either team would even want to if they could, because, again, Cogmore in a good position. At the same time, AT pushing in. They have 5 towers to 2. They are about 2k ahead. But at the same time, when we get into these team fights, myRevenge have the definite possibility to basically punish them super hard if Cogmore is in those back lines, just putting down the hurt. Right now, he has the Blade of the Ruin King, he has the BF Sword. And if they can kind of just stall this out, they'll be in an even better position. That being said, AT looking to be very aggressive, put down the pressure right now before they can get to that stage, and essentially just stall it out.
Yeah, do you know what? I think Cogmore should put Distortion Enchantment on his boots, because I think that flash cooldown is going to be extremely important to him. you can see how much of a diving team this is. They are going to go straight for him. And obviously now Zaichin getting into a little bit of an awkward position. We've got Stand United coming down, Chain of Corruption coming down. Zaichin is just going to get, not actually blown up. He does get bitten at very long range there. Does actually blow his flash as a result. Kaglaro maybe going to go following this up. Not going to bother. We have now got Rumble shoving in that inhibitor tower. And it's all fail factory going very, very low. He is going to be taking out a little bit of damage. Facility might die, but he actually flashes over the wall, does get taken out, does get taken out in the end by Diana. I thought he was going to get hit by that cog ult, then he didn't, then he was going to get taken out by Diana. I'm getting confused here, but fnatic's actually now potentially having his recall stopped by a rather rude bro there.
Yeah, you just kind of expect someone to go down because there's a skill shot heading towards the face and it's just that split-second reaction which saves them. And it's really confusing when you're doing the play-by-play, but we will actually have the smite coming down from Robo, stealing that out from Kaglaro and Diana as well. Duplantis around the corner, but he's on very, very critical HP. He could be instantly bursted down, but Robo's still chasing after. That being said, we have Cogmore coming in from the south side at Kaglaro around the side as well. 3 versus 2 situation. Duplantis trying his best to offer some assistance, but will be taken out by Cogmore, picking up yet another kill. Maybe looking to pick another kill onto Robo as well. Backs off, lands it with a nice stylish living artillery, but that's another kill feeding into that Cogmore.
Yeah, another kill going to him, but they now have an open inhib, and AT are going to be very happy about that fact. That is going to make it so much harder, in fact, for Shen to do his job. He is going to always have in the back of his mind that he might, at any point, be recalled back to stop someone going for that inhibitor. And in addition to the fact that Cogmore, incidentally, has got that extra gold, he's now also got a blue buff, which is extremely important on AD Cogmore. Because as you mentioned, Bio-Arcane Barrage is absolutely crucial, and we have potentially got Zaichin getting into a situation here, but AT rarely going in, and Exhaust has gone down on him. The Equalizer actually kind of whiffs Cogmore, and it does look like he's going to get at least one of these kills. Actually, Elise taking that kill instead, and Facility now is stunned, but Zaichin will want to go for the hook when it comes up. He doesn't have it available though, and it looks like Elise was maybe thinking about going in. We've got Fanatics instead though. Diana going to be throwing in some damage, but he might be able to cut them off. He has gone for that flash. He's going to be able to follow this up. He has got the movement speed, has got the Q, has got the ult, and does get that kill. Bro is up top, and we have now got Kaglaro coming in, going for Zaichin, does get knocked back though.
Yeah, they might be able to dive this, but they will in fact be backing off. And it was kind of funny because Zaichin wanted to land that death sentence, but immediately got caught onto that spiraling, which was basically on top of him. And he might have been able to reclaim a kill in that scenario because despite Vitality going down, they might be able to bring that to a 1-to-1. But we do actually have Shen in the mid lane picking up another turret. Kaglaro also counter jungling and picking up that red as well. But moving on top, we do have Bro and Duplantis looking to be very aggressive onto this inhibitor. This is also an opportunity and a fighting ground really for AT if they want to go for a team fight. But at the moment, myRevenge being so aggressive all over the board, they've been stopping them from really going and getting this team fight rolling because they probably are stronger. They need to try and stall it out so Cogmore doesn't get to that late game stage. But I think it's already fast approaching that point already.
Yeah, that's kind of what people mean when they describe the flow of the game. They mean that basically AT have never had an opportunity to just say, right, guys, let's all get in one lane, let's group up, and let's force a fight on that open inhibitor. They've never had the opportunity to do that because there's always something going on somewhere. They've always got to respond to someone, bot lane being pushed by Shen or top lane being pushed. And actually, there's a fight going on right now. We have got the Equalizer, we have got the Shen ult on the Cogmore there, and it looks like Bro is forced to flash again. Rarely is going to be going for that, has been taunted now, is going to be going very, very low. We have got the flash over the wall. I wouldn't bet on him getting out alive here, but he might get the execute. Kaglaro is going to flip him. There we go. We have got the slow as well. Cogmore now looking for that kill on Bro in the meantime is not going to get it, though, has missed that hook. And Diana is actually now in trouble as well. Fnatic's going very, very low. Does kind of just stand around for a bit before dying. And it does look now like we have a lull, briefly, although AT are grouping up for that move.
Yeah, and these team fights are actually very interesting because they're not kind of everyone's grouped up and everyone uses their ultimates. Everyone's split up and they're all having their own sort of small skirmishes within that jungle. And this is kind of suiting myRevenge more than it does AT because all their ultimates are sort of AoE. They like to go for those AoE team fights in that sort of claustrophobic environment, but at the same time, myRevenge just wants to be kind of split up. They want to keep them at range, they want to have Cogmore on the back line, and they're quite happy with going with those scenarios, and that's why they're kind of winning out in these team fights. Right now, the gold total's completely even, but the Drake will be picked up and just tipping myRevenge in the favor on that gold advantage. But Dupliant has now been has actually found himself a Shen with Zykion on the side. Lantern has gone down, but will immediately be picked up by a Diana as she comes in with that Lunar Rush, and that was another pick. So it just seems like all these fights are getting picked up by picks.
Yeah, pretty much every single fight is never started by just, you know, a 5-on-5 at an objective, as I mentioned. So now we have tier 1 player potentially getting caught out. Zaishin and Facility are going around behind. He is going to want to juke if there's gonna... Oh, wow, he does actually dodge both the hook and the hail of arrows, but actually stays in. And now we've got Fail Factory going in as well. Has been rooted. Is going very, very low. The Chain of Corruption is still available. No, it isn't. 10 seconds on that, in fact. And Fail Factory going very, very low. Is he going to be able to get out? Does flash. We have got the Equalizer coming in from the side. Rarely is now in a position. This might be the fight that AT really want. They have now got the pick, and they have now got Kog'Maw and Volibear pushing in bot lane, but that open inhib is a huge threat right now for myRevenge, who are going to be going for that top.
Yeah, and we do have Kog'Maw though in that bot lane. We do have the Dupliant as well, and it's kind of interesting because you expect Dupliant to be the perfect counter to Kog'Maw, because he's that assassin who you want to be up in Kog'Maw's face and assassinating him. But even that 1v1 scenario, he just can't quite go for it because Kog'Maw is in such a good position. But right now we do have this push from AT, and they're maybe finally getting to the stage where they want to go for that team fight, but the fullback ping has gone down, and again they're just not quite able to go for it. And this game has just been tipped back and forth between AT and myRevenge, and it's been so close. And tier 1 player potentially being caught out. AT all sitting in this brush, just choosing their target, and they will in fact go for Bear initially with the ultimate coming down, with the Chains of Corruption will just be spreading, and Kaostv potentially going down. Stan United comes out as well. Tier 1 player still in very good health. Box goes down, will be picked up immediately by Varus. The Lancing goes down as well. The tier 1 player just tanking like a king. Double kill comes out. Fnatic X now coming in, looking to pick up this kill onto Vitality. Flash comes out, the shutdown comes out, and the dress line will land onto Diana, looking to pick up this kill, but he's not in the stage. He just doesn't quite have the damage, now completely out of the mana, and Fail Factory now chasing after as well with that repel into that cocoon, chasing after with Toxic as he now looks to kite Dupliant, and Dupliant will be taken down, just not quite got the damage. 4 for free trade in a favourable or seemingly favourable scenario from AT Gaming.
AT Gaming there, just like leveling up tactics right there, but actually could have turned out really, really well. The problem was that they didn't have the vision in that upper jungle. They didn't know quite whether they would have the full time to put down the damage they needed to burst someone out and then just go. And it actually looks like there's going to be an interesting 2-man Baron here. Bear is heading towards that position as well. They did have that Oracle. Fail Factory is tanking quite a lot with those Spiderlings though, so that's actually really interesting. Bro coming in from the side has been caught, is going to be getting a lot of damage put onto him, and they are just going to go back to that Baron buff.
Yeah, and as you said, the Spiderling's paying off quite a lot, because generally you do say, however, we do have Robo looking for that, still not going to happen. It's even on 50% HP. There was absolutely no way he was going to get that. And right now they are in a very good position to turn this into a team fight. Kaostv getting the flip onto Fresh. He will be flipped over and taken on very, very quickly. 2 for 0 trade with Kog'Maw just getting more and more fed in these scenarios. They will actually be moving off Baron, in fact, despite being in a very strong scenario, but in fact maybe looking just a push down into that mid lane.
I'm actually a little bit surprised there that AT... First, I'm a little bit surprised that Bro went in so early before that Baron was like even close to going down. Obviously didn't expect it to have reset as much as it had when he went in the first time. So I'm a little bit surprised they didn't go for that fight, because Rarely actually had Kog'Maw caught out in the middle of an Equalizer, and he could only go further into the Baron pit or towards Rumble. So I'm a little bit surprised, as I say, that AT didn't go for that aggressive attempt to kill Kog'Maw, because as I say, if they kill him, it's a huge loss for that fight on myRevenge, and it does look like they are going to be pressuring all the lanes again. The bottom lane is snowballing in the favor. Oh boy, there could be another fight.
Yes, indeed. Everyone is approaching that top lane. Fail Factory has just found himself the rest of AT. and they will now be grouping up, as you said, for a potential team fight. They are in a stronger scenario, and potentially they can just keep them away from Cogmore. Tier 1 player just poking his head around the corner. Cagliari looking to be aggressive as well. Dupline still does have that lead, will be flipping him over. Tier 1 player just in the backlands already. However, we do have Cogmore being disrupted already by Rally and Brobro, not getting out the damage that he wants to be. In fact, the ultimate from Stan United will be keeping him alive, and now moving on to Dupliance, and he just can't do enough damage as Cogmore picks up a double kill and a quadra kill, and looking in a very good position as Brobro is forced to go back, and now this could be in a very aggressive push all onto Baron as well, putting him further ahead into this game.
Just good positioning actually by Cogmore. Even though he got jumped onto in the end, he was aware that he didn't actually need to run. He was aware that his team had so many shields, had so much ability to keep him alive and to disrupt their opponents. And he was aware that his opponents had blown so many cooldowns already that he could just sit in the middle of the fight and just target fire down whoever's the biggest damage threat and just tank through it. And when you're dealing with a tank Cogmore that's putting out full AD carry damage at nearly 4 items, that's terrifying. That's an incredible amount of damage to just be unable to shut out as a source of damage.
Yeah, incredibly scary. You literally can't do anything, and they got the perfect people onto Cogmore. They tried their best to disrupt him from AT. They had Brobo on him immediately. They had Rally as well putting down some damage, but the Stan United so strong in that engagement, he just stood there and took it like a champ and just shredded them out in that engagement. And it's just, as you said, very, very difficult for them. And right now you have a 14-3 Cogmore, 4-item AD carry at 30 minutes. Compare that to Varus, 2 AD carry items, 2 big items, and looking to maybe build in towards maybe a Last Whisper, maybe a Phantom Dart. He's got basically components of both. And it's kind of funny because Varus is 11-7. He's in a very good position himself, but Cogmore with that inherent steroid and is also farming very well. It's just very, very difficult, and it just shows you the strength of a hard scaling AD carry like that, with a strong early game which they've kind of supplemented with their playstyle.
Yeah, plus you've got that extra Baron buff on top of all that, and Cogmore, as an AD carry, benefits more from the AP on that, more than anyone else. You'll now actually see, I think he has actually not got any extra percent on his W, which is a little bit surprising to me. I would have thought the Baron buff would be enough to give him, that extra percent, but I think it does give you extra damage even though it doesn't render it in the tooltip. So he is actually getting extra damage on almost all of his abilities from the AP, which is more than most AD carries get, and he's getting extra damage on his abilities from the AD, and he's getting the AD to multiply with all those damage stats like that crit strike, like that attack speed. So he's just so scary, but he is potentially getting caught out here. Not going to actually happen though. Fail Factory now taking a lot of damage. Kaglara looking for this flip. They're a little bit iffy here. Nigelf is getting ulted here by both Rumble and by that damage. Oh my lord, he's getting angry Kha'Zix on him, but he's not got quite enough damage, and it just looks like he's just gonna tank on through it again. Visibility going very, very low, has got the bear on him, has got the Cogmore on him, and he just doesn't have the damage to respond to Cogmore, and it is now tier 1 player tanking the tower. Stuff happened.
And you can see by so many players from myRevenge being on such low HP as well that they just juggled the damage perfectly. And again, Cogmore in very good fighting shape as they move on into this inhibitor. GG is in fact being called by tier 1 player. They haven't quite ended yet, but they do have the flip as he tries to get the dress line out. And there's the ace, and it's quite likely they'll move on to this this Nexus, these double Nexus turrets, and indeed the Nexus. We do have Psychion coming up very, very shortly. We'll see what Fresh can do.
I very much doubt he can do anything now unless someone buffed him with an insta-give ability from, 2000 range Lux. So, still a very... I just banged my hand. So, very nicely played there. Obviously, that Cogmore getting just unbelievably fed, frankly. And really was the key factor. Although, there is sort of an unsung hero, I'd say, in both Tier 1 player and Fnatic's, because Tier 1 player just made it his life to keep Cogmore alive and did a very good job of it. And Fnatic set so many of those picks that ended up going to Cogmore. Even though he quite often died in the process, it worked out for them and he just did an incredibly good job. And kind of built like a tank himself as well, just looking at it now. But still, very nicely played.
Yes, indeed, and we will now be jumping into the third game very, very shortly, guys. That was another win, in fact, the first win for myRevenge, bringing that to a 1-1, and we will be jumping into the third game very shortly after a quick commercial break. So we will be back in a minute. Don't go anywhere.